Welcome to Tactical Tycoon Radio, reloading the American dream. Bringing you all the gear you may have never heard of, but won't be able to live without. Whether it's new, up and coming, or just plain exciting, Tactical Tycoon Radio wants to share independent American businesses and their products and services with you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tactical Tycoon Radio with your hosts Gino and Sean.
Alright guys, welcome to episode 3 of Tactical Tycoon Radio. My name is Gino, and with me as always is my co-host Sean. What's going on, Sean?
Hey Gino, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad, bud. So, what's going on? Anything new and exciting in your shooting world?
In the shooting world, Saturday was the wife's tactical league, so I was the RSO for that. I just ordered my new True Glow night sights for my XD Mod 2.
Awesome.
That's my carry gun.
Have you shot with the True Glows before?
No.
No?
But I got to be able to see them better than that generic fiber sight that they put up on the front.
Okay.
That doesn't reflect any light at all.
Are you going to put those in, or are you going to take those to a gunsmith?
I'm going to try. I do have a Sylvan universal sight pusher that I got for Christmas. And actually, I spent about half an hour today just kind of getting the blocks set up so that when the sights get here, I can start trying to push it out.
Cool.
Problem I'm going to probably run into is everybody I've talked to said Springfield sights are about as tight as they get.
That was exactly what I was just about to say.
So it'll be interesting to see if this sight pusher can actually push that little tiny tab of the front sight out without breaking it.
Well, if you do break it, it's not the end of the world, because usually, in my experience in the gunsmith room, more often than not, Springfield sights, especially the front sight, just end up getting cut out.
Yeah, I'm fully planning on having to run downstairs and get the Dremel, but we'll see. I've seen a couple of videos of guys being able to push them out. So as far as the rear sight goes, that thing's big, bulky, and steel, so I don't really think I'll have a problem getting that sucker out. It's just a matter of getting the force to push it.
What company did you go with the universal sight pusher?
It's called Sylvan. It looks like, what was the name of that other sight pusher that was like 3 times as much? Foster's or something.
It's always good to have a buddy with a sight pusher. We've got a MGW at the shop, but it's beefy, which is really nice. They were expensive.
I got it for $60 on Amazon for one of my Christmas presents.
Nice.
So it's not a cheap one, but it's not a $10 deal.
Very cool. I think I held the record. I busted 3 of the Glock factory sight pushers because their factory sight pushers were definitely not as robust as their pistols are. I mean, they were almost they were borderline like cheap feeling, and I was like, wow, I was really surprised.
Wow, that's funny. Something cheaper than a Glock.
Speaking of Glock, did you hear that they are protesting the results of the adoption of the SIG as the new Army sidearm?
Who? BLM?
Glock is.
Oh, Glock is.
Glock is. BLM. Well, there's something going on with the targets, right?
Yeah, I now have seen, I saw it come by on Amazon once or twice. There is a guy out there that is pushing to remove black silhouette targets from gun ranges.
Now, does he want to remove any target silhouette that happens to be black, or just the B-27 silhouette?
I'm looking. It appears that he wants to remove the B-27s.
He knows that that's literally a style of target, right?
Right.
And you can
Probably not.
You can get B-27s in any
A
color.
myriad of colors.
Yeah, any color under the rainbow. It's just, I think they're most commonly seen in black because most places that print targets, black is obviously their most popular color of ink.
Right. So it looks like what he's doing here, and he's trying to no more black targets is his little hashtag / movement number. He looks like he is decorating the B-27 with, just kind of, I guess, standard artwork. I mean, he's painting the targets. Some of these targets look pretty cool. Some of these are definitely social justice warrior motivation.
I for one, I don't usually shoot silhouette targets. I use different targets that have shapes, numbers, and colors on them so I can run little drills. But
right.
I mean, does he honestly think that by trying to eliminate what's hands down probably the most popular target 10 times over, that's really going to change anything, or is this just another cry for attention?
Honestly, I see it more as a cry for attention. He's got some. If he'd left out the part where he's trying to, get rid of the black target because it somehow offends him, he'd probably sell more of his artwork targets. Because honestly, some of these are pretty cool. They got shapes and words and pictures on them and, all kinds of stuff. But I think you're going to lose the entire target shooting people when you say no more black targets and you try to push it with that angle.
Yeah, I just, when I first read about that, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Not the best marketing genius I've ever seen.
Well, and the thing is, for anybody that hasn't seen the B-27 target that we're talking about, I mean, go into any gun store and it's a silhouette of a roughly humanoid shape, and the guy's got his one arm on his hip, the other one kind of turned outward in a pose that I've never seen a single person ever take. But even a full-size, life-size B-27 target, the guy's about, 3.5 feet tall, and if he was a person, weighed maybe 60 pounds. Like, they're not the most...
Right.
It's a head and a torso. And that's it.
It's a head down to the belly button. If you hang it on a hanger, make it 6 feet tall, I guess it could be your average male size. Shoulder width wise. Obviously, a few of us are a bit wider on the front to back, but hey, I like food.
Me too. So for this week, our interview, we've got Gary Urban, who is one of the founders and lead instructors at Front Sight Solutions. I'm pretty excited for this one. I've known Gary for a few years now, and I've gotten the chance to work with him and shoot with him. He's got an awesome range set up in Hinckley, Illinois, which is kind of out in the boondocks, but it's worth the drive if you're local. And what's really nice about Gary is Gary's he's a full-time firefighter, and he is also a former Marine. I guess he'd be retired Marine. You're not really a former. And he, he's I like to give him a hard time a little bit because he is older, but he goes and goes and goes with the energy of someone half his age.
Yeah. I've never shot with Gary. I hope to sometime this year. His prices seem pretty reasonable. But from what we saw with taking that class, that he doesn't have an off switch.
No, he doesn't. He's like the proverbial Energizer Bunny, but older.
Yeah, if he's got an off switch, you don't see it because he doesn't turn it off until he gets home and lays down to go to sleep.
All right, guys. So here's our interview with Gary Urban from Front Sight Solutions. Make sure you check them out at frontsightsolutions.com. They're also on Facebook. Hey guys, this is Gino and Sean with Tactical Tycoon Radio, and today we are joined with Gary Urban, lead instructor of Front Sight Solutions. What's going on, Gary?
Nada.
So me and Sean just got done taking your TTCC class. Right. It was would you say a gunshot specific, first aid?
Kind of trauma specific, focused on a gunshot wound.
It's definitely something that you want to take if you're a range officer or spend a lot of time out on the range. For me, I went to EMT school, but it was an awesome refresher because it's been years and years and years and years since I've used anything in that class. Sean, is this the first time that you've really taken any kind of first aid class like this?
This is my first formal first aid class. My wife is a nurse, so I get a little bit from her, but this is the first formal class I've taken. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Gary, tell us some more about Front Sight Solutions. I know you guys host all kinds of different classes in the Northern Illinois area.
Yeah, sure. So we're a small training agency, or agency if you want to call it that, training company. Sean, my partner, Sean Harrison, and I both are Marine Corps veterans. Sean has a pretty extensive Marine Corps history. I've got 4 years in. I served with Alpha Company, 3rd Recon Battalion. So I got some fairly high-speed training while I was in. I made 3 deployments during the early and mid-'80s, Beirut, Somalia, places like that. Sean was in the first Gulf War. He was infantry. And did a lot of security stuff after that with Camp David. So he's got a pretty good security background as well as infantry. And of course, both of us are forever students of the game of defensive shooting and defense in general. So we try and pass all that along. We do handgun training. I call it Dynamics of Defensive Shooting is my first entry level class in the defensive shooting. We run an advanced defensive shooting class, and then we run a program we call Advanced Considerations, which is almost all scenario based. Everything from very close contact and some hand skills through shoot and move scenarios, and then carbine, some shotgun, home defense, concealed carry. We've taken on a fair amount of different stuff, but it's all defensive shooting techniques.
So how did Front Sight start?
Sean and I pretty much. I was fortunate enough to have a really good friend with some property who shoots himself recreationally. He extended an invitation out to Sean and I. We started going out there, and Sean and I both being jarheads, kind of right away went right to defensive style, fairly aggressive shooting. And he saw it. We kind of trained him up a little bit. He had a couple of friends. We had some other friends came out. We put some semi-formal classes together for friends and family, and the suggestion was made that we should probably look at doing this. There was a need. And we developed curriculum and moved forward from there. We've both been through other classes. I mean, I work with a handful of other instructors in the area, co-teaching and inviting them out to our range. We've got the new training coming up with SPY. Dan Spychowski with the Center Access Relock car program. So it's constantly evolving. But yeah, that's how we got our start. Was just we were fortunate enough to have some property that we could shoot on. We moved to a second range now, and we're moving forward.
So you guys do a lot of different classes. It's not just we do a CCW class. We do a first aid class. Do you have any good range stories?
I do. We're going to hold on that though for now. Those stories I tell in person, either over drinks or on the range. As you know, there are a lot of different people out there that listen to this, and I prefer that my learning stories come in the classroom environment. We've got some funny stuff. We all know how it is when especially different guys from different branches of the military all get together, or officers versus firemen, police versus firemen. we start running drills, we bring the shot clock out. It brings out the best and funniest in all of us. So there's some stories there, I guess. The Marine Corps shoot's always a good time.
So Gary, what have you had any changes in your curriculum since you've started to now?
Absolutely. We've refined our curriculum probably 3 times, in the 3+ years that we've been doing this. I wouldn't say they're not really significant technical changes in our curriculum. It's mostly how we deliver the curriculum, and we learned very quickly that people learn at different speeds. So depending on what your background is with firearms, you learn at a different rate than other people, and so we've had to modify the amount of curriculum we put in the different programs and spend more time in places that we didn't realize we'd have to spend time in. So yeah, we've definitely modified it. I would say that the core information that's delivered hasn't changed a whole lot, but certainly the way we deliver it and the way we execute the day on the range has changed a lot. And we only now are just starting to do concealed carry. We really had no intent to do concealed carry. There's a lot of guys out there doing it well. It carries a fair amount of liability. In the beginning, I didn't want to be part of it. And to this day, I still believe that a lot of concealed carry holders out there don't really get out and train the way they probably should. And I don't think it's because they don't want to. I think they don't understand the difference between getting out and running on an open range where they can shoot, move, do presentations from their holster live, as opposed to standing in a stall at an indoor range and shooting it, from a static position.
Right. So you're talking about Illinois concealed carry. Do you feel like the curriculum for Illinois concealed carry, is that it? Once you got your concealed carry class, are you set? Are you good to go? Or do you think that people should have continued training?
Well, I think that, I've been shooting for 37 years plus at a fairly, I would say a fairly high level as far as the amount of training that I've been able to get. And I continually learn. I would say that anybody that walks out of the house in the morning with a sidearm strapped to them, wherever it might be, has an obligation to train very regularly. It's a very perishable skill, and if you are not out training in a fashion that allows you to do the skills that you are going to need to do in a gunfight, you are setting yourself up for hardcore failure. And it's not like you're gonna miss a date or something. You're gonna die. Gunfights are extremely violent, and if you make a mistake, it's very forever.
So you've been in the firearms industry for quite a while. Has there been any trends that you've been seeing lately in the industry? Anything related to the election? Do you see more people taking more in-depth, more advanced classes? What are you seeing out there?
I've seen what I think everybody in the industry has seen, and what seems to me is like there's been a huge sigh of relief since the election, and what last year we saw was a very, very big rushed hurry to get in and get as much training as they could get their concealed carries, buy their weapons, buy ammo, get holsters made. Now there seems to be this relief, and I think there's actually a mindset of, okay, now we're good, and I can take a breather. And there might be a little bit to that, but I feel like my mindset is always, if you're not getting out and running drills every month, you're not staying even. To get better, you need to be doing this stuff at least once or twice a month. To stay at the status quo, you need to be putting rounds down range at least every 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks. I know
definitely.
that when I don't fire a weapon in a while, I get on the range for the first time and I'm like, holy cow, I really need to. It's been a while. It's been longer than I thought. Kind of like going to the gym.
All right, so what are your plans for the future? What do you guys got coming? This is we're recording this in February, so there's still 10 months left in this year. You guys have any big plans?
I wouldn't say big plans. I think we continue to try and network and reach out to other instructors and other people in the industry and get like-minded people together and enjoy the sport that we should. I mean, for me, it's a sport, but it's also a lifestyle and an opportunity to learn how to defend myself. I don't particularly compete in any one IDPA or US IDP, whatever, all the different shooting sports agencies that are out there. I don't do any of that stuff. Now, I don't have a problem with any of it. I think it's all great for the industry. So our focus is on continue to develop our curriculum, work with other instructors.
So what is the Perpetrator gunfight system?
So Perpetrator Gunfighter Systems is Dan Spychowski's company. He's the president of it. He's the instructor with it. And the Perpetrator itself is a shoot-back, real-time moving target.
Wait, the target's going to shoot back at me?
The target shoots back at you. It shoots airsoft,
that's
so
good.
it's less than lethal.
That's plus.
But I'll tell you what, it really changed your mindset when you start talking about shooting and moving around cover. And there's a target down there that's one, moving, and two, shooting airsoft pellets back at you. They're not going to hurt you. You know they're not going to hurt you long term. But when one of those things cracks off your knuckle on your hand or catches you in the arm or the neck or even the chest if you're wearing a t-shirt, it definitely gets your attention. And you start getting a flinch and blink response, if you know what I mean. So your focus on getting accurate rounds on target changes dramatically. So it's a great tool to have. Along with just like any tool, it's a tool. It's not all, but it's certainly a big tool to have out there with your training.
I would think that would be a great way to kind of evaluate your tactics, because you can do USPSA and you can do IDPA all day long, but paper targets don't shoot back. And even though that it's an airsoft round, it's still going to teach you a little bit more about movement and cover and concealment, because it's going to shoot back.
Absolutely. And the other really great thing about it, even if he doesn't choose to shoot it at you, he's got a live feed, from the camera that he uses to sight the airsoft gun. You've got a recorded image of what you look like from the target's perspective. So when you come out from behind cover and you blade out from behind your cover and slice the pie, you get a really good real world look at what you look like to a potential threat coming out of cover. And it's all on tape. It's all documented. So even if he doesn't, even if he opts not to shoot, if it's a no-shoot drill, it's a moving target for one. So now the target's moving back and forth. It can flank you. It's not on a set of tracks. It's a robot that can move 360 degrees right now, and it's pretty quick. So it can come around and flank you and light you up if you're not paying attention. But if nothing else, it gives you a really good look at what you look like from the threat's perspective, and that's huge.
Sounds like some pretty good feedback on how you're acting against it and what your skill set is in accordance with what that thing is doing.
Absolutely. I've been teaching shooting from concealment. It's been one of the core pieces of curriculum that we teach, and especially in the advanced programs. And you can second guess and try and tell the students how much of their body's exposed, and you're standing behind them looking at the target, and they a lot of times really don't believe you. They think that they're way more concealed than they actually are. When you take a look at that, when you go to tape and you take a look at what that threat actually sees, there's no arguing. When your whole body's hanging out from around that barrel or wall, it's right there in plain sight. That's exactly what that threat saw with the gun sight on you. So
sounds like you could have all of the cool guy camouflage, all the whiz bang go fast stuff, but if your tactics are horrible, you're gonna catch an airsoft round pretty quick.
Absolutely.
So how long have you guys been doing front sight solutions?
About 3 years. This is going to start our fourth year. The last two have been pretty steady as a pretty regular scheduled classes going off on a pretty much we schedule them, they fill up pretty good, and we run them, as opposed to the first year and a half. It was kind of, hey, who wants to get together and go shoot? I think we'll do this today, and then people, friends show up and we go shoot and we run some drills with them and help them where we could. Now, like I said, we've tweaked our curriculum and added some new curriculum, and of course, every time we go somewhere and study from somebody else, we try and bring some of that back. I hate to say that I plagiarize other people's stuff. But when it comes to defense, whether it's hand and feet skills or edged weapon skills or firearm skills, if you're not taking good information from other people out there that know what they're doing and using it and passing it along, then you're not progressing forward. If you believe that you are so good that you can't learn something from somebody else, you've stopped learning, and to be honest with you, you're dead in the water.
Right.
So this being a classroom-only class that we took today, one thing that both myself and Sean noticed is throughout the entire course, you were very engaging. It wasn't just death by PowerPoint. Okay, here's this slide. All right, here's this slide. All right, we're done. Both of us found that your stories and your engagement of the entire class made for a much better overall experience. Is that something that you had right away, or was it something that you've developed going through as time progressed, doing more and more classes?
Well, I've got an advantage. Sean and I both have an advantage. We both have a strong education background. Sean works for a training agency that teaches public safety diving, as well as recreational and technical diving to first responders. He works for sheriff's departments, fire departments. He's been teaching that for a long time. He's a really good instructor. I've been doing it at the department level where I work, training up-and-coming new divers for the dive team. I taught in the Marine. The last part of my time in the Marine Corps before I got out, I was helping teach at Combat Town, teaching the CQB type stuff, and so I think that's where it comes from. We're very comfortable in our curriculum, and we have enough real world experience that we can relate to it and pass that information on to our students. And I think that's what helps make it flow a little bit better and be less of a, like you said, death by PowerPoint. There's nothing worse than death by PowerPoint, man. I mean, I use PowerPoint pretty much to keep me on track, because as you saw today, a couple of good questions and I end up on a tangent going down some trail that I have a hard time coming back from if I can't look up at the screen and go, oh yeah, hey dumbass, turn it around. You're about 4 slides ahead.
Yeah, I think Gino and I have both been through enough classes that have been death by PowerPoint. That was kind of a refreshing new thing to have somebody that's a little more engaging and a little more I wouldn't say knowledgeable, because you know what you're doing, but just not sitting there reading off the computer screen.
Yeah, we teach what we like, and we're not doing this. Neither one of us are going to get rich doing this. I mean, anybody's. Now, I am sure that people that come to these classes assume that we're all just independently wealthy. And
buying a gun every week.
And we've got
throwing as much ammo down range.
Aren't we all independently wealthy?
Yeah. We've got high-end European sports sedans sitting back home in the garage, and gun rooms that are full of the latest and greatest firearms. I literally own 7 or 8 handguns, and most of those I have because I provide them to students that need them on the range. So I own a moderately priced AR that I use for my classes. It's basic.
That'd be a fantastic YouTube segment.
It's
trainers with moderately priced firearms.
Yeah, the Marine Corps taught me one thing, and that's to do the most with the least. We use stuff that the Army's had for 20 years and passed it down to us. It's been rebuilt a little bit, and here you go, make it work. And we seem to kick ass pretty good with it. So now, are there nice rifles out there that I would love to have? Absolutely, man. There are some rifles out there that I would love to be able to run some classes with, but my philosophy's always been if my rifle's what's holding me back with my performance, I'll upgrade it. As of right now, I can tell you that my rifle is not what's holding me back. I've got
way to put it.
Yeah, I've got room to improve before I need to worry about the rifle that I've got. So. In the event that my rifle starts to hold me back, I'll look at a higher end rifle. But for right now, it does the job just fine.
So Gary, let's say that I was a brand new shooter and I had just purchased my first firearm. What class would you recommend that I take just to get the basics?
Well, I'm an NRA instructor, as is Sean, and the NRA is a great Second Amendment protection group. They do wonderful things. The only course that we really teach that's close to NRA curriculum is the NRA Basic Pistol Program. We really don't teach it as the NRA Basic Pistol Program. It's modified because their curriculum is a little outdated, to be blunt. But I would say a basic pistol class, and we can usually do a basic pistol class in a few hours of classroom and an hour or so on a range to get you familiar with your weapon, know how to load it, unload it, safely handle it, safely store it, know how to transport it safely and legally. And then we pretty much want you to jump right into our dynamics class. The dynamics of defensive shooting class starts with where most people really need to be. We do a solid review of grip, stance, sight picture, sight alignment. We really spend the first 2 or 3 hours on the fundamentals of pistol marksmanship. It's technically a tactical class, I guess, but if you can't if you don't have a solid understanding of basic pistol marksmanship, you can't shoot tactically. I mean, shooting fast and running around and doing fast reloads and crawling through the mud and having bombs go off around you and shit, that's all well and fine, but if you can't pick up your weapon and point it at a target and shoot precisely, it's all a waste of time. So we start there. We move very quickly then into presentation from the holster. We get you shooting from your holster. After lunch, we typically progress into an introduction to reloads, malfunctions, things like that. And from there, we introduce you to movement. We get you moving a little bit, because if you're standing still in a gunfight, you're going to die.
Right.
So we start having you do some movement off the X, and that's about where that class ends. We touch on covering concealment a little bit. We have you moving around some barrels, but that's where that class finishes up, and then the advanced class starts there with another recap of the basics, and then very quickly into movement, use of cover, forward movement, reverse movement, lateral movement, and some different firing positions, shooting from the not so much prone, shooting a lot from the supine, shooting kneeling, shooting sitting, using vehicles a little bit. We touch on that, but hopefully we'll have a vehicle class this year. My range, we're wrapping the berm around a little bit, so we'll have about 270 degrees of fire covered by a berm, and then we're on enough property that as long as you're shooting pistol caliber, there's nothing that we're going to hit, in range of even rifle caliber. So if we should get something outside of the berm, it's not going anywhere. But yeah, so we're open to do a vehicle gunfighting class, and Dan and the center axis relock training comes in really, really handy for that. I use CAR for a small percentage of my shooting. There are times when I go to it very, very quickly, usually inside tight areas, cover concealment, and certainly in a vehicle. It's a very, very good skill for inside of a vehicle. So that's the direction we're kind of headed later this year, hopefully.
All right, Gary. So if someone wanted to take one of your classes, how do they get a hold of you?
So there's a number of ways you can get a hold of Sean or I. My cell number, I put it out there. You're more than welcome to give me a phone call or shoot me a text. 815-378-2490 is my mobile number. You can shoot us an email at info@frontsightsolutions.com or GURBAHN44@gmail.com. That's my personal email. We've got a Facebook page, Front Sight Solutions on Facebook. All of our events around there, so all of our classes are put up as events. So you can go to the events section of it, click on the event, it'll expand out. Go down to the description, click on the See More, and all of the information for the class should be there. Equipment list, kind of what it covers, what we're doing, stuff you should think about bringing to the range, times, the cost. And if something's not there, by all means, shoot us a text or an email, or drop me a phone call. As far as comments go on that page, I try my best to stay current on them. But if you've got a question, call me or email me. Best to call me. especially if it's a time sensitive question, like it's a question about an upcoming, day out, 2 days out kind of a thing. I don't always catch all of the comments. We get a lot of comments on a lot of different threads, and I miss them sometimes. And I've had guys, ask me a question about the following day in the comment section. And I didn't see it for a day or two, and that's just, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. It's tough to keep up on all of that stuff. So please call me. That's the best way to get a hold of us and see what's going on at Frontside Solutions.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Great.
All right. Thank you much, Gary. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the interview with Gary Urban from Frontside Solutions. He is a fantastic instructor, and I hope that me and Sean can get out there and do some actual shooting with him in the upcoming summer months. Check us out at TacticalTycoonRadio.com and Tactical Tycoon Radio on Facebook. And as always, we are Gun Culture 2.0. Get out, get involved, and get shooting.